The Sinkhole Tragedy. On April 28, 2000, a 22-year-old Russian diving instructor named Yuri Lipsky arrived at the Blue Hole in Dahab, Egypt. He took a camera along to document his achievement. He planned to break his personal depth record as he decided to attempt a bounce dive. A bounce dive is when a diver drops to a maximum depth and returns immediately to the surface. This approach cuts down time at depth and limits decompression needs, but it tempts less qualified divers to go deeper than they should. The Blue Hole sits on Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. This underwater sinkhole plunges more than 328 feet down. So many divers have died there that the people in the area call it the Divers' Cemetery. At 180 feet down, there is an underwater tunnel called the Arch that connects the hole to the open ocean. Most fatalities occur when divers attempt to swim through this tunnel. But Yuri's death happened somewhere else entirely. Tarek Omar, another diver who was more experienced with technical diving, had tried to talk Yuri out of the dive, but Yuri refused to listen. He was confident in his abilities because he was an instructor. He thought he knew what he was doing. At 5 p.m., Yuri prepared his camera at the surface, adding a red filter and making sure everything was set up. The date and timestamp showed on the recording. The sun was still shining through the water. After a while, Yuri began his descent with a single air tank. He had overworn himself with heavy gear. In the first 2 minutes, everything looked normal. Nothing special was happening. After 4.5 minutes into the video, his light began fading. By the 5-minute mark, darkness had surrounded him completely. At 5 minutes and 37 seconds, Yuri held his dive computer at the camera. The display read a depth of 266 feet. A rocky, sandy bottom appeared below him on screen, but Yuri was still sinking. It looked more like a slope than a flat surface. Moments later, he checked his computer again. The screen showed he was around 301 feet of depth down. Yuri tried to inflate his buoyancy compensator. The audio captured the effort clearly, but it did not work. His movements became frantic as he struggled with the camera. Finally, he released it onto the bottom, hoping to free both hands and restore buoyancy. The camera remained motionless on the sand. His breathing grew louder, and the diver computer's alarm continued beeping, but there was no escape. At 301 feet, Yuri consumed air 11 times faster than he would have at the surface. His single cylinder was nearly empty. The excessive weight made it impossible to ascend. Even if he had wanted to ditch his weights, nitrogen narcosis at this depth would have clouded his judgment completely. His ability to make rational decisions was gone. The footage jumps ahead for about a minute. The camera was still on the bottom. Yuri's breath can still be heard, and the beeping continues. But Yuri Lipsky had already died face down at the bottom of the sea. A week later, Tarek Omar descended to recover his body along with the camera. Surprisingly, the camera was intact. The recording preserved 7 minutes of Yuri's life, showing his worst nightmare as he sank to his death.